a week's holiday in September 2011, and we decided to do a self-tour of Arizona, a US state that seemed to offer spectacular scenery and interesting birding. A morning flight got us there for 10:30 a.m. Plenty of time then to pick up a hire car and head immediately north to the Red Rock country around Sedona. We had a night's accommodation in Oak Creek, and then were planning a couple of nights further afield before coming back again to the Sedona area. Driving north from Phoenix along the I-17, we stopped at the Lake Pleasant Regional Park for a rest stop. Based around an enormous reservoir, it was heaving with people. We weren't going to find much here, although a bathroom break was welcome, and we did get the chance to see a cactus wren, while a Harris's antelope squirrel played hide and seek with us by the restroom. The road into Sedona sweeps into the valley between its impressive red rock cliffs, many of which have specific names. The Sedona area was under a sea 330 million years ago. The shells of millions of sea creatures formed a layer of limestone that now underlies the area. This is known as red wall limestone because of its color, the result of iron oxide deposited in the rocks by water in later eras. Courthouse Butte was just one of the named formations in the area. It was mid-afternoon by now, so we decided to head to a good spot for a little light birding. We had a couple of local guidebooks for birding sites, and chose the Bubbling Ponds Fish Hatchery. It is a working fish hatchery, but there is access arranged by the local Audubon Society. It provided a couple of hours gentle stroll and good birding and bugging opportunities. This distant heron species, landing on the edge of the pool, turned out to be a juvenile black-crowned night heron. The real stars of this afternoon were to be the dragonflies and damselflies, starting with the spectacular checkered setwing, a species of skimmer found in North and Central America. Variegated meadowhawks are pretty widespread in North America, even up as far as Ontario and BC in Canada, but they are still great to see and photograph. Western pond hawk, as the name suggests, is limited to the western side of North America, whereas widow skimmers are much more widespread. Perhaps the most spectacular of all were the flame skimmers. A species found mainly in the southwestern US, the males are completely orangey-red whilst the females have some yellow markings. That night we were booked into the Desert Quail Inn, in the center of the nearby village of Oak Creek, but still with views of the iconic red rocks. It was clean, comfortable, and with restaurants nearby, just what we needed for our first night. Up at dawn, we packed and were in the car. The plan was to drop in on Bubbling Ponds again, take a look around Sedona to appreciate those marvelous rock formations, and then make our way out to Mormon Lake, where we had booked a couple of nights' accommodation in a cabin at Mormon Lake Lodge. There were more birds around this morning at Bubbling Ponds, including a very obliging bald eagle, sat on top of a pine tree in a local yard. What a great yard bird! Silverleaf nightshade is a toxic native plant, which grows in poor soils and is considered a noxious weed. On the paths, serpent ringtail dragonflies were absorbing the early morning warmth. Bubbling Ponds was again proving very good for insects. Bordered patch butterflies and blue dasher dragonflies were amongst the many species seen. These male blue dashers were readily identified by their blue abdomens and striking turquoise eyes. One had clearly caught a moth for breakfast. The feathery antennae were the last bits visible. Lesser goldfinches, this one a male, are only found in the southwestern US and down into Central America. This spring water dancer, a female, was only identified due to the ID skills of iNaturalist. Males are actually normally all blue, although the color can be a bit variable. The close proximity to water made this a perfect perch for black phoebe. Nashville warblers have two subspecies. The one around this area is also sometimes known as the Calaveras warbler. Of course, we couldn't ignore more of those spectacular flame skimmers. The yellow stripes on the thorax probably mean this is a female. We enjoyed our ramble around the site, picking up butterflies such as the queen, and admiring the little Transpacus morning glories. We were hoping for a particular bird species here, but so far had not found it. Instead we carried on, collecting views of ornate tree lizard and grey buckeye butterflies along the way. It's not all about birds, after all. And who could complain at the abundance of insect life that we were seeing here? And what was the bird that we were keen to see? Well, it was the desert quail itself, the one our motel had been named for, actually better known as the Gambel's quail. These charming birds have a rather comical topknot on their heads, which bobs up and down as they run. We were delighted to find our first ever birds of this species at Bubbling Ponds. There was a small family group wandering in the hedgerow and, later, lounging on a dead stump. They stayed for long enough for a good view and a few photos and video clips. The birds are non-migratory and move around mainly by walking. It is apparently very unusual to see them in flight. Any flights are short and explosive, to get away from threats and predators. So we were actually quite lucky to see this covey take flight. This certainly was a good spot for toxic plants. Alongside the nightshades were lots of datura, jimsonweed or devil's trumpets. Very pretty but highly psychoactive. We were pretty pleased with our morning at Bubbling Ponds and so headed off to take a look around the spectacular scenery of Sedona, on our way to Mormon Lake. The area had a very well-organized plan to manage tourist parking. A ticket bought in one car park in the area was then valid for all other parking lots on the same day. It made seeing the sights quite easy. Back to Courthouse Butte, which we had seen yesterday, and the nearby formation of the Bell Rock. A butte is an isolated hill with steep, often vertical sides and a small, relatively flat top. The courthouse is formed from horizontal layers of sedimentary rocks. Bell Rock, named for its distinctive shape, is also a butte and formed from the same sedimentary rocks as the nearby courthouse. It certainly was a spectacular landscape, well worth the viewing. It was time to head off to Mormon Lake, not that far away, as the crow flies, but actually right on the other side of the Coconino National Forest, so quite a long trip. We headed up to Flagstaff and then down again, along Country Road 3. There are a couple of reservoirs along the way, called Lake Mary, Lower and Upper, but these were low in volume. Mormon Lake itself was completely dry. We arrived in the late afternoon, a little taken aback by the isolation and the shed with a bed that was our accommodation. Still, there were a few birds to see, such as Vesper sparrow, yellow-headed blackbirds hanging out with red-winged blackbirds, and the charming brewer sparrows. It seemed, however, that Mormon Lake was going to be hard work to bird. We were not sure what we'd find to do round here. What we could see of the lake was birdless, and the dark woods, apparently part of the largest ponderosa pine stand in America, were not exactly dripping with birds either. Maybe this wasn't the place for us. So, we decided to cut our losses, and stay only one night. To be fair, we probably weren't seeing the place at its best, But we were not sorry to return the key the next day and head back towards Flagstaff, stopping off at Marshall Lake for a poke around the high meadows. It is a backwoods camping area, and we did keep coming across campers moored between the trees. We would have to be careful not to upset anyone by seeming to be peering at them through our binoculars. After all, they would likely be armed. Still, it was worth it for good views of black-throated grey warbler and pygmy nuthatch. We don't see those every day. Townsend's warbler was another welcome find at Marshall Lake. And we even caught a glimpse of a white-breasted nuthatch. This was more like it. We dropped in on Kachina Wetlands, a series of sewage ponds near the little town of Kachina, just south of Flagstaff. We expected to see wildfowl here, and we did. A nice selection of common duck species, nothing unusual, were present here, along with American coot, sora, and common gallinule. It certainly boosted the trip list. Next up was a bit of culture. Walnut Canyon National Monument is a 20 miles long, 400 feet deep, and a quarter-mile wide natural canyon, and it chose to rain as we arrived. It is most famous for its cliffside dwellings, built by Native American peoples into the side of the canyon. These people are known to archaeologists as the Sinagua, a name taken from the old Spanish name for the region, the Sierra de Sin Agua, or mountains without water, and they thrived in the area between 600 and 1400 CE. There was an unfeasibly steep trail taking visitors down into the canyon for a closer look at the cliff dwellings. We chose to look from afar from the rim trail. Now the rain had stopped. An easy walk along the edge of the canyon. We enjoyed good views of the monument and of a cheeky grey-collared chipmunk as well. Back in the car park, we found our best bird for the site, a green-tailed towhee sitting in a tree and then hopping around the margins of the parking lot. This species' breeding range covers most of the interior western US, with a winter range in Mexico. It is the smallest of the towhees and fairly common in sagebrush habitats, but is hard to see because of its tendency to stay under cover. So this was a very unexpected and welcome encounter. It was getting late in the day, so we headed back towards Flagstaff via the Arboretum at Flagstaff for a nice walk and, perhaps, a few birds. To be honest, the birds were a bit disappointing, but our best sighting by far was of a small rodent, later identified by the wonders of iNaturalist as fulvous pocket gopher. Pocket gophers are so named for their cheek pouches, which are apparently fur-lined, can be turned inside out, and extend from the side of the mouth well back onto the shoulders. They are used to collect food. The animals also can move backwards down their burrows, feeling their way with their short tails. It was great fun to watch. It had been a busy day, with a few highlights. The pocket gopher was definitely one of them, although the birding had been difficult at times. Would that change? We got a room at the Quality Inn in Flagstaff and found Plumbeer Svirio singing in the car park. Maybe that was a good omen for the rest of the trip. Anyway, our plan for tomorrow was to visit a big hole in the ground. The Grand Canyon beckoned. It's one of those things that you do. For more information on our trip to Arizona, and some of the other US visits we have made, see our travelogue, available as an ebook from Amazon. If you like this sort of content, why not take a look at our YouTube channel? We have images of over 2,000 species from all over the world on there. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and thanks for watching. Just one more look at those spectacular red rocks, the real stars of this show.